Ayo fellas, how's it going? And welcome back to Bee Swarm. I just want to make it very clear, by the way, that this video is going to be like hella short. I'm sure you've probably already noticed that, looking at the timeline. But that's just because this video is mainly filler, alright? I realized that I'm probably not going to be able to release like my next actual like normal like video. And I feel like leaving you guys without a video for like about 6 to 7 days is just a bit much. So I decided to kind of just stick this one in the middle somewhere. So yeah, if you were here for like a super long, like fat length Bee Swarm video, you probably won't get that. I'm not sure when I'm gonna do one of those again in a while. I want to start making these a lot more shorter just so it's a lot easier to edit, just because they take a very long time to edit, even though like it's mostly just like cutting around, but it still takes forever. And you know, it's a toll, all right? It's a toll on the editing process for sure. So I kind of just want to stick to like more shorter, like maybe 20 to 25 minute videos at the most, around there. Hey, sup guys, it's me, and this is the part of the video where I ask you to smash like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It doesn't take long at all, and it really helps me out a lot. You gotta be part of the small percentage of people who are actually subscribed. Fellas, we're getting closer and closer to 14k each day, so let's keep going. And yeah, you're finally getting a full Hive composition video. You're welcome. This includes all my bees, all my mutations, all the Beequips that I have on, and amulets, the whole shebang, alright? I thought this video was going to be a lot shorter than it actually turned out to be, but hey, at least you get a full in-depth analysis of my entire white build. And you know, since this is a Bee Swarm episode, I of course have to chill out a little bit more. So if you want to, go check out like some of my other type of content. Usually every other video or two, I release like a horror game related thing or like something random. Recently I started playing a new horror game made by Chilla's Art, The Closing Shift, so if you want, go check that out. But yeah, I'm not gonna waste any more time. With that all being said, enjoy the video. But today, I'm gonna be doing a Hive composition video. Now, I wasn't really planning on making one of these just because I didn't really feel like I needed to, but I got a few comments, people asking me to like do one, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Hey man, it's free content for me, I guess. I just shove out a filler video and boom, it's like I just uploaded a normal video, guys. So yeah, today I'm just gonna go through like all my like amulets and stuff, and also my bees and like mutations, and just kind of explain a little bit about like why I have it. And then that's gonna be like pretty much the end of the episode. Like I'm not gonna do any like weird wacky things, buy any treats. I have all this money that I could spend, but I'm not going to because no, alright? We'll save that for another time. But let's get started, shall we? I think the first thing I should probably talk about is my bees. I was gonna mention this in the last episode of Beesmas, like while I was doing my boost, but then I realized it was already getting kind of long, so I just cut it out. But I did tweak my hive a little bit that no one really knows about. I'll explain a little bit more later on, but let's just go down the list, alright? So of course I have a basic bee, because like literally everyone and their grandma has this in the game. Because like why wouldn't you? It's just more pollen. It's like, it's a must-have. I don't have a bomber bee because I believe having more bomb pollen just doesn't really matter in a white hive. So it's like, it takes up a space out of the 50 that you could have something like more useful. Even if it does boost the gummy star, I don't think it's like worth it. The next one though is Brave Bee, and you know, this one just like increases attack, so it's just good for the Star Saw if you have like Gummy Saw for your passives. And then moving on, we got Hasty Bee over here, which I like having it just because of the move speed. I often find myself like being extremely slow at times, and it's like super frustrating. I wish On It added like an item in the game to where you could just have like a normal amount of speed set for yourself, like not like literally like slow jog, but like maybe like this kind of speed like every second, you know? I really wish something like that was in the game because move speed just sucks at times, dude. Like sometimes your bees just like screw you over, or like Windy Bee makes like the tornado thing and like all your haste goes away and you're so slow, and it sucks when you're doing a field boost because it's like, my god man, I can't go anywhere. So that's why I have a Hasty Bee. I don't think it's required, but I just like having it for the extra speed. The next bee is a must-have. Looker Bee gives you some critical power, so that's just good overall. So like, why not? We also got Stubborn Bee, which I think this one's also usually in a white hive. I don't think it's like super needed, but like having ability token lifespan is just like so good, especially because some tokens disappear like immediately. So just having like that extra 20% lifespan is just like good overall. We also got Commander Bee because critical chance, that's just also a really good thing to have, you know, might as well. Demo Bee, like I said earlier, you know, Buzz Bomb Pollen or just like Bomb Pollen doesn't really matter as much. And I'm pretty sure just having it in your hive just for like the whatever percentage for the Gummy Star buff, it's just not worth it as well. You could have just something just better. Then we move over to Exhausted Bee, which is definitely a must-have since it gives you 20% white field capacity, and that's just like, it's a white hive bee, alright? You want white things to boost your white hive, so you have to have this, alright? Moving down, we got Honeybee, which is also a must-have. 1.5 times honey from tokens. Just very good overall for the Gummy Star, like whenever you're doing like a massive boost and the thing released like trillions worth of honey from the like honey tokens, you're gonna definitely want that 1.5 times boost from that, alright? We also got Rage Bee for just more attack for the, you know, Star Saw. Pretty self-explanatory. Shocked Bee, 25% white pollen. You definitely want this. Once again, a white bee right here, so a must-have, like I said. Now we move on to the legendaries, which, you know, I have a baby bee. I heard you need to have, like, more of them. I only have one, just because I don't really have any space in my hive for, like, you know, 2 or 3. But, like, the only reason why you have a baby bee is just for, like, the baby love. And also the 25% loot luck is just kind of nice to have. But typically the word of advice for like any hive is you want to have at least like maybe 3 to 4 sources of baby love. I only have 3, including like the tadpoles, but like I feel like that's just good enough, alright? Unless I find like a really obvious bee somehow to replace with like another baby or tadpole, I feel like I don't really need another love source token. But anyways, moving on to the carpenter bee. I only have 3 on me, but you know, it's overall pretty good because, you know, pollen from tools, and of course the mark tokens, honey mark plus and, you know, pollen mark. Mark tokens are like one of the most important parts of a white hive just because of the gummy baller now, and you know, it like multiplies with more like mark tokens on a field. So I have 3. I think that's like the normal amount to have. I think if you go like 4 or 5, that's like kind of overdoing it since, of course, if you have like, what's its face, Stubborn Bee and also like Honeybee, they make mark tokens as well. So, you know, it's like Honey Mark and like Pollen Mark. You don't really need more of those. But now moving past these guys, you don't really need them. Now we got Line Bee, which, you know, it just gives you colorless bee attack. And since like most of your hive consists of colorless bees, you just kind of want this just because, you know, more attack, of course, for the Star Saw. Plus, it has, like, a really good attack stat, so it's just good as well. I definitely have just, like, maybe 1. I don't think 2 is necessary at all. Now, Music Bee. This is actually very dependent on your Beequips, alright? If you have, like, no Beequips that, like, have any single source of melody, like the Toy Horn, alright? You're gonna want at least, like, 3 or 4 of them. But since I have like 2 toy horns that give melody to like my other type of bees, that's why I only have 1 music bee. Just so in total, I have 3 sources of melody. I think it would probably be better if you had like maybe 4 or 5 sources of melody. But like I said before, hive space is very limited, so I don't really have anywhere to put them. And I don't think Onnit is gonna like extend the hive slot like amount anytime soon. Maybe like 2 or 3 years down the line, perhaps. But like for a while, that thing is probably gonna stay at 50 for sure. Which is why you gotta be very careful like what type of bees you have. And you know, Beequips are very important. I'll go through them in a second, like after I'm done with like my hive. But those are also very important. But anyways, moving on. I don't have a Ninja Bee. I know like 5% bee move speed could be pretty good. I'm sure it is like pretty decent. But like, you know, once again, a lot of the reasons why I don't have certain bees is just because of hive space when I could have like a better bee over like Ninja Bee. So that's just why I don't have it. But yeah, this one over here though, Shy Bee, I actually added this to my hive pretty recently. And now, I know it's a red bee, but like the 5% bee ability pollen can be very good for white players, alright? I don't know about like blue or red players. I'm sure red players could probably do good from it just because it's a red bee. But like blue players, I don't know so much. But like white players, because I'm a white hive of course. But like all my vector bees, they all do like the triangulates and like mark surges, right? And I believe those are affected by the 5% bee ability pollen. So if you give 5% more pollen from all of that, that can start adding up to big numbers. So that's why I have a Shy Bee. Would definitely recommend it. It also sips more nectar from planters, so that's just good when you're AFKing like the petal planter, which is something I spend like most of my time doing now in Bee Swarm. But now we're moving on to the mythic bees. I have a buoyant bee. I don't think it's necessary like as much as some of the other ones, but I just like having it for the capacity. 1.2 times capacity is just nice to have. I'm sure if you wanted to, you don't really need it and you could have it in place of like something else maybe. like Vector or like maybe one of the other bees I mentioned previously, but capacity is just really good, so I like having it, alright? Moving on though, we got 2 fuzzy bees. I used to have like 4 or 5 in my hive, but I slowly started getting rid of them just because I had like more and more people telling me that you don't really need like a ton of these guys. I think like the normal amount people have is like 2 to 3. Sometimes people only have 1 on their account if they have like a second alt account to like boost with them with like 4 or 5 fuzzy bees. If you have that, then, you know, more power to you. That's great. I don't have that luxury because my alt account is like in the starter zone, so I can't really get mythics that easily. And I also can't be bothered to grind on my alt account. But yeah, fuzzy bee is like pretty much only for like the fuzz bombs and also the pollen haze. Pollinating flowers are just important for boost overall, so it's just like really good to have. But like that's pretty much it for the fuzzy bee. You don't really need too many of them. Moving on though, precise bee. Precise bee, even though it's like a mainly red bee, it is like pretty crucial for a white hive, alright? And that's mainly because of the super crit buff. Whenever you're boosting as a white hive, you need to have 10 times precision every second, alright? If you want to make the most bank. If you don't, you're probably going to suffer. This bee is very important for, you know, of course, the super crit chance for like collecting more pollen, and as well as it's pretty good attack for like the star saw. It's just good. I have 4 of them. You could probably get away with like 3 if you're like really smart with like precision buffs. But I don't know why, I just feel like very unlucky when I had 3 of them, because sometimes I would be like trying to like set up like a 10 times boost in a field before doing like a puff stream run, and then it would just go away after like an entire minute when none of them would like produce them. Even if I had like 3 of them, they just didn't do it. But now that I have a 4th one, you can definitely stack up to 10 times pretty easily without it like fading away, just because they didn't spawn the token, since like there's 4 of them now, so there's a super high chance they're gonna spawn the token. And I just found that having 4 of them works for me. If you want, you could probably have 3, but I just like 4, just because it's like 10 times easier to keep the buffs going on, especially when you're in like a super mega boost. You know, sometimes you miss like the target practices, and if you miss them too many times, you're just gonna lose the 10 times boost. So having 4 just kind of increases the chance of you getting that like another stack of precision to like keep it going. And of course, the mark token that it produces when you hit like the final target, that is like essential for a like mega white boost, just because like precise marks are great for the gummy baller, since the multiplier of the gummy baller increases like rapidly the more times it hits like a precise mark. So if you can somehow like line up 2 or 3 of them and like send off your gummy baller hitting the wall over and over again as it hits the precise marks over and over, you can probably get like an 11 times stack like immediately, and that is really good for like a super big white boost. So yeah, 4 precise bees, I think that's like a pretty good amount to have. Anyways, moving on, 2 tadpole bees, just cause, like I said earlier, baby love. Also having the frog boosts are kind of good. They just like regenerate pollen, collect tokens, pretty okay. You don't want to have too many of these guys, just cause it sucks when it comes to stats. Kind of like the baby bee as well, which is why I only have like 3 of these guys in total for baby love. But yeah, anyways, moving on. This is probably the most important bee to have in a white hive. If you don't have like a ton of vector bees, you are screwed, alright? You shouldn't even be a white player. You're not even considered a white player, actually, if you don't have, like, a ton of vector bees. I have 16 of these guys, alright? An entire, like, third of my hive is dedicated to vector bees. And that is just because, you know, Mark Surge, Triangulate, Pollen Mark Plus, those are just all really good abilities for a white hive. Pollen Mark increases the amount of pollen you get while you're standing in it. When you have a ton of marks on the field, you always get that like Pollen Mark Plus boost and also Honey Mark Plus boost while you're grinding away. It's just really good to have. Triangulate, when you have a festive bean going on, that thing is like increased rapidly because of the bee move speed. So that thing starts to pop off, collects a ton of pollen as well, and when it goes over mark tokens, it's just really good. Mark Surge is just really good overall, just because it like collects a ton of pollen when it hits like all the mark tokens on the field. And of course, if you have like a ton of vector bees, you're gonna have a ton of mark tokens on the field, so you just get more from this as well. A very crucial bee to have, and of course I have 16 just because you want to have a ton of these guys. I feel like probably the normal amount to have is maybe 16 to 17. That's like the normal range, I believe. So yeah, you definitely want to have a lot of these guys. Anyways, moving on to event bees. First one we got is bear bee. Gifted hive bonus, 10% pollen, pretty good. And the bear morph, of course, gives you like more pollen and all that. Very good overall. Moving on, we got festive bee. This one is mainly good because of the mark tokens, and also because of the festive gift, where you get like instant conversion and like more pollen. Pretty good to have. I like having it. Next bee we got is, of course, Gummy Bee, one of the most important bees in a white hive, as well as Vector Bee, just because literally goo is literally like the thing that surrounds like white players, like what makes them that fat bank. Without Gummy Bee, you'd just be making a lot less money, so that's why I have it. It's a mandatory bee, alright? Moving on though, we got Photon Bee, which gives 5% instant conversion. Pretty good to have as well. Can never go wrong with instant conversion. You also got the Beamstorm ability, which is just a thing that collects pollen, so it's just good to have. And also a haste token, so I like having it just because more haste. Like I said earlier, haste is a very big problem for me, which is why I like having like those haste bees. We also got Puppy Bee over here, which right now I have it just because I've been kind of leveling up my bees a little bit, so it gives like more bond from treats. Also with this like exclusive Beequip, I think it's like pretty decent, I guess. I'm sure if you were like a super like maxed out late endgame hive, you could probably get rid of the Puppy Bee and replace for like something else a little bit more useful. But since I'm like not completely maxed out yet, I just have it with me. Anyways though, moving on, we got Tabby Bee, which is another one of the most important bees in the game. Now looking at its stats, it's like pretty average, right? But because of the Tabby Love tokens 1,000 times, it just increases all its stats by like a crap ton. So it turns like these pretty mediocre stats into actually like godlike levels. Especially its like scratch ability, you know, that thing, if it super crits, with this right here, it's gonna make you so much bank, dude. My god, man. One of the most powerful abilities in the game. And of course it also gives you 50% critical power, so it's just good as well. Anyways, moving on, Vicious Bee. This one is definitely not a bee you need in your hive if you're a white player. I have it just because I like having a little bit more attack for the Star Saw, but also just for like regular attacking things like Stick Bug and also Snow Bear and like Stump Snail like Coconut Crab. I feel like if you don't have a, you know, Vicious Bee, it's just kind of sad when you start doing like attack things. But yeah, this bee is definitely something you could replace if you really don't care about like attacking and all that and just want to focus on like pure grinding. But me, I like doing a bunch of other different things in this game, so I like just having this guy. Anyways, moving on, Windy Bee. This is just literally the white event bee. Why wouldn't you have this thing? It gives you white instant conversion and like boost clouds, which like give you bonus stuff while grinding in a field. It's just good to have. Plus it's the only source of white boost tokens in the game currently. Super good as well, you know, Tornado collects a ton of pollen depending on your haste stacks. Definitely another must-have bee in your hive. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all of my bees currently. I've been recording for 23 minutes, which I don't know if that's good or not. Am I seriously making another like super long video? How do I keep doing this? I don't know. You know, I'll try to speed run through the rest of this, alright? So, my Beequip case slots, they are dedicated to very specific things, alright? Festive Wreath is just good to have just because of the Festive Bee. Festive Mark is also really good. Love it. You know, like I said, White Hives feast off of Mark tokens, so that's good to have. Reindeer Antlers, I just have this because of the Puppy Bee. I feel like if you didn't have this on him, it'd be a lot more useless and like I'd probably just get rid of it. But I feel like this exclusive Beequip kind of makes it worth it to have in your hive, at least slightly. But I don't know, man, you probably don't need this if you don't have a Puppy Bee, since of course Puppy Bee isn't really that mandatory. But anyways, moving on, we got Bubble Lights over here, alright? These are also pretty crucial for a white hive, just because of the mark token duration. I currently have all of them on my Precise Bees, just because whenever it slaps down that Precise mark, you want to keep it on a field as long as possible to get that extra, like, you know, super crit chance, but also to, like, increase the chance of your Gummy Baller activating while it's on the field still, so it can, like, increase the multiplier by a crap ton. So that's just why I have the Bubble Light on, like, all of my Precise Bees instead of, like, my Vectors. Moving on, though, we got Bee's Mystery Hats. These are just really good for, like, stats. It gives, like, ability pollen, ability rate, so, you know, if you put them on, like, a Vector Bee, you know, it's gonna have, like, more ability pollen, which is just good overall. I also have one on my Tabby Bee, just because it's gonna, like, make the most out of the ability pollen, since, like, its scratch token is so broken, man. It does, like, so much. It's, like, literally the best token in the game. I cannot stress that enough. But, like, the more ability pollen it has, like, the more it's just gonna give you when it comes to bank. So, that's just why I have it. Like I mentioned earlier, we got 2 toy horns. I got, like, 2 of them set up on my Lion Bee and also my Rage Bee. Reason why I have this is just because of the melody. You want to have at least, like, 3 to 4 melody sources. So that's why I have those. I also got a toy drum because of the haste. I really like haste, alright? I need the haste. For some reason, none of my bees like giving me haste when I'm grinding. So that's why I have to have, like, this to increase my chances of getting that haste token. But I just have one set up on my Brave Bee. It's, like, the only bee I can have in my hive, so that's why I have only one. If I wanted to, I could get a demo bee, but like, it's not worth it in my opinion. Moving on though, we got a paper angel. This one just gives like more ability pollen, and also like white gather amount, pretty good. And also the token link ability, so that's why I gave it to my photon bee, just cause, you know, ability pollen, pretty decent overall. All the other bees that can actually have it aren't really the best. So really the only bee you'd want to equip this thing to is photon bee, so that's why I have it for him. Moving on though, we got the poinsettia. I believe I have this on my windy bee just cause it gives like, you know, gather amount for like red stuff, gather pollination chance so it can like pollinate stuff, and it also gives like, you know, a little bit of red pollen, which I guess is kind of useful. This is mainly like a red bee Beequip, so if you want, you probably don't need this. I kind of like just having it for the pollination though, just cause I feel like that's kind of good. But this is definitely like not a mandatory Beequip you need. You could probably go without it and like replace it like maybe another toy drum if you have like demo bee or like something else random. I don't know. Anyways, moving on, we got a snow tiara. Now this one is mainly for blue stuff, but I like having the 4% white food capacity and also the 5% honey from tokens that it gives. That's just good to have, so that's why I slapped it onto my shocked bee. I just think it's a pretty good Beequip to have overall, just because of those 2 hive bonuses. I just like having it. And then moving on, we have a lump of coal. I know like most people probably don't have these things just because they kind of suck and like hinder the abilities of some bees. But in my defense, this one gave 2% white pollen. That's actually kind of good, alright? So that's why I have it for my baby bee. And its stats suck anyway, so like might as well decrease it even more. We're giving the handicap bee another handicap. What can I say, alright? The dude is handicap squared now. But it's fine, alright? It's just a child. Let it be handicap. What is it gonna do? Cry? Who cares, man? But yeah, that's pretty much it for Beequips. Moving on though to amulets. My king beetle amulet, it's, you know, pretty average, just convert rate, 1 bee attack, probably the best thing you could have for attack wise. And of course also just like mushroom field and clover field pollen, just, you know, pretty average stuff. The ant amulet though, that's the thing that kind of matters a little bit more, just cause like there's some specific things you want on it. For my ant amulet, I prioritize critical power and critical chance, just cause like, you know, more boosts and like big sporadic numbers for like white boosts, pretty good. I also have 1 bee attack just for like the star saw and all that, pretty good as well. And finally, I have 30% white pollen, which is the max amount of like pollen in total you can get for like a stat, and also 28% red pollen. I'm pretty sure I do the second best at like collecting red stuff, so I just felt like having a little bit more red pollen would be good over blue. I don't really care about blue stuff. Moving on though to my moon amulet. This one over here is a pretty much maxed out one. I have 250,000 capacity, 50% white pollen, which is like the most you can have, so that's really good. And also 148% pineapple patch pollen. And the reason why I have that is just because if I ever do like a mega boost in the pineapple patch field, I'm just gonna have 150% more pollen, and that's just gonna make you a ton more bank, alright? You could of course instead replace this with like, you know, 5% instant conversion, or like 10% honey per pollen or whatever. At least if you're not gonna do like a pineapple patch boost. But I just like having that just in case I do manage to do one. Anyways, moving on, we also got a diamond stick bug amulet, which I didn't mention this, but I actually did get one since over Beesmas, I needed to get help from a few people to like complete Bubble Man and like also like legendary mushrooms. And while doing that, we were doing a couple stick bug runs, and I actually managed to get a diamond amulet. Now this one, it gives me like, you know, some monster respawn time, you know, some red bee attack, which is I guess of course kind of average I guess for my precise bees and, you know, other ones. But more importantly, 27% white pollen, pretty good. And also 26% blue bomb pollen, not that good, but you know, whatever. I could of course get a better one, which is like, I believe, maybe regular bee attack, I think. Also, like 30% white pollen, or like a percent white pollen, and also honey from tokens. I think that's like the best you can get. And maybe like one other set, like maybe like pollen from tools, I think. But like, I don't do that many stick bug runs with people, so that's why I don't have that. And then finally, moving on, the Supreme Star Amulet. This is the same one that I got like from last Beesmas, by the way, so this one hasn't really changed much. But of course, I have the Gummy Saw passive abilities, just because that is the best combo you can have for a white hive. We also got ourselves 50% red pollen, which, you know, is alright, I guess. I don't really need red pollen, so I could, of course, try to get a better one without that. But we also got 4% critical chance, which is good. 61% white pollen, very good. 5% bee ability rate, super good as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think if I wanted to, I could, like, try to get maybe, I don't know, what other set could I get from this? Instead of red pollen, what could red pollen get replaced with? But this is, like, pretty much an almost perfect one, I believe, right? Maybe, I don't know, let's see. Critical chance, a lot of that stuff, no. Instant conversion actually would work. Yeah, that could actually work for like the perfect amulet. Critical chance, bee ability rate, instant conversion, white pollen. Is there critical power on this? I don't know. It doesn't look like it, but once again, I'm not too sure. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it has it. But yeah, either way, I'm pretty close to like the perfect Supreme Star Amulet. All I really need is just some of that instant conversion, and then boom, got it right there. Would I really be lucky enough though to just like reroll that one stat and not like jeopardize all my other ones? Probably not. I'm probably just gonna like roll an even crappier one. So I might as well just stick with this one. But yeah, that is pretty much it, I believe. I've been recording for 36 minutes. How the hell do I keep doing this to myself? I don't know. Oh wait, I just realized I forgot about my shell amulet. My bad. It's just like all the way at the top over here, so I didn't see it at first. But yeah, Supreme Shell Amulet. Over here we got 12% goo, 17% pollen from tools, 33% white pollen, and you know, just a bunch of other like random field boosts. This is like almost perfect, alright? I feel like if the pollen from tools was replaced with honey from tokens, this would be the best, okay? Wait, can you get honey from tokens? I don't remember. I don't know if you can. You could also get goo conversion, I'm pretty sure as well, so maybe that might actually be better. But goo conversion or honey from tokens, that would definitely be better to have over just pollen from tools. But this thing is like almost perfect, alright? It's getting there. I'm sure I'll get one eventually. But yeah, now I think that is pretty much it. Really quickly, if you wanted to, you can just pause the video and see all my other stats, but like this is it over here. All my wacky little stats. There you go, man. Alrighty. Keep in mind that's also taking into account the neckers that I have going on. But yeah, I believe that is pretty much it. I don't know how I thought this video was going to end up being 5 minutes long, but it looks like it's going to be like at least around maybe 25 to 30 minutes, because I know I've been talking a lot. Maybe I'll try to cut it down a little bit though, when I was explaining like my bees and all that. I know that definitely took up like the majority of the video, but I just wanted to kind of get that point across, alright? This is my entire hive composition. All my stats, all my bees, all my... Oh, I didn't cover the mutations, actually. Alright, to summarize, you want a lot of gather, alright? Gather is pretty good. You can never go wrong with it. It's just good to have overall. I have attack for my line bee just because it has an insane attack stat just for the star saw. And if you do manage to get like ability rate, just keep that over, you know, anything else. Ability rate is like the best mutation to have. It is also the rarest one to get. And of course I have 3 energy mutations for my Precise Bee, just because that's the only way you can actually hold the Bubble Light. Precise Bee also has a pretty terrible speed stat, so the Bubble Light actually increases that by a pretty significant amount, which is something I like. It means it doesn't like trail behind. It actually can kind of keep up with my hive, which is pretty good. Like look at that one, it's speeding on by. But yeah, now I believe that is everything. I'm pretty sure, alright? If I'm forgetting something, maybe I'll include it in the next episode, alright? Which, by the way, next episode for Bee Swarm, we're probably gonna go check out the test realm and just see what it has in there. I know it has like a bunch of Beequip stuff, so maybe we'll go check that out. Just see like all the different stats and all that, and like see what I'd like to have with my hive when that actually comes out in the main game. But yeah, anyways fellas, thanks for watching. Smash like, subscribe, notifications. Do it, because I did this hive composition for you, alright? You're welcome. I feel like I have a pretty good hive setup for at least a white player, alright? If you have any suggestions, let me know, and maybe I'll change around my hive a little bit, who knows. But that is what I'm currently rocking. And if you want to use this video to set up your own white hive, then I guess more power to you. I'm glad I helped. But yeah, anyways fellas, thanks for watching. Bye-bye, gamers.